Hi math students, this is our introduction video for our lesson on how to multiply and divide with decimals. For the first part, we're going to look at multiplying with decimals, and to help us review how to multiply with decimals, I want to start with this review question on how to multiply with whole numbers. Pause the video and try this first problem here. So we had learned when you are multiplying whole numbers, especially ones that have more than one digit down here, you start by multiplying 453 by 2. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 5 is 10, so 0, carry my 1, and 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 gives me 9. Then you can do the same thing, but with the 1. So 1 times 3 is 3, and when you start the second number, you shift over one place. You can also write the 0 here if you'd like. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 4 is 4. And then to get our final answer, you add those two rows of numbers, and you get 6, 3, 14, and 5. So our answer is 5,436. This is what we learned back in Unit 2 when we talked about multiplication and division. Multiplying with decimals is very similar. So if I gave you 4.53 times 1.2, we would multiply this problem the exact same way we did over here. Pretend the decimal points are not there. You do all the same things. 2 times 3, 2 times 5, 2 times 4, and then all the same things with the 1. 1 times 3, 1 times 5, 1 times 4. And then all the same things you did over here. You add that row of numbers, and we get the same thing. The only difference here is our answer is going to have a decimal in it because the problem has decimals in it. The way we decide where the decimal goes for multiplication is different than addition or subtraction. For addition and subtraction, we said you wanted to line up the decimal points, but look at this problem. For multiplication, those decimal points are not lined up. For multiplication, the way we decide where the decimal point goes in the answer is we are going to count. Count how many numbers are after the decimal point in the problem. So in this problem, I see 1, 2, 3 total numbers that are after our decimal point. So that's going to mean I need 1, 2, 3 numbers after my decimal point. And so my decimal point would go right here. And maybe in your notes even include a note about there are 3 numbers after the decimal. That will be how we multiply numbers in today's lesson with decimals, is you count how many numbers are after the decimal point in the problem. The other thing we're going to do in today's lesson is dividing with decimals, and similarly, this is going to be really similar to some math we did back in Unit 2 when we talked about multiplying and dividing. So for this problem, we want to divide 87 by 2. So I've got my long division set up. But the difference here is before we would write our answer as a remainder, here we are going to write it as a decimal. It starts the same way as before. I start by asking myself how many 2's are in 8, or asking 8 divided by 2. My answer is 4, and because 4 times 2 is 8, there is no remainder. I can then bring down my 7 and divide again. So how many 2's are in 7, or 7 divided by 2? 7 divided by 2 is 3, and because 3 times 2 is 6, there is a remainder of 1. Now before, we would just say our answer is 43, remainder 1. But this time I want to write my answer as a decimal. The decimal is not going to be 0.1. I do not just take this number and write 0.1. Instead, to find the decimal, we change 87. 87 is the same number as 87.0. Think about what you know about money, right? $87 is the same thing as $87.00. So to help me find my decimal, I change 87 to be 87.0. When I do that, that is also where the decimal point goes in my answer. And by doing that, it gives me another number to bring down and to divide by. So to finish this, I say how many 2's are in 10, or 10 divided by 2, and that answer is 5. 5 times 2 is 10, which means I am done. There is no remainder. Now, if I did have a remainder, you can always add as many zeros as you need, but here I just need 1. In today's lesson, we're going to be doing more problems like this, where we divide and we write our answer with a decimal point. Thanks so much for watching. You were ready for today's lesson.